Okay, I'm excited to show you this new AI image hack using Gamma and ChatGPT. You can create unlimited, high quality, branded AI images way faster right inside Gamma. So if you've ever used ChatGPT to create images, then you know it's really powerful and it's really an amazing image model, but it's super slow and it takes forever to load. So over the past year or two, I've been testing things out with Gamma. They have an amazing AI presentation creator, which is really useful for creating presentations super fast in a custom branded style. But recently they added the new GPT image model, which allows you to use the image generation model that you get inside ChatGPT or Sora. And that model is really good at following instructions and creating high quality images. So after a lot of testing, I found a hack that works really well. What you can do is use ChatGPT to come up with image ideas for your brand. Then you can copy and paste those right into Gamma's AI presentation tool. Then you can add your brand style to describe how your images should look. And now you can use Gamma to crank out high quality images, dozens at a time, in seconds, and without all the waiting and clicking that you normally experience inside ChatGPT or in Sora. So what you really get here is rapid fire AI image generation in your brand style. So let me show you what I mean really quick. I'm going to open up this Gamma that I created. And what you'll see here is images that are generated. So what I'm using Gamma for is not really these presentations and all the layouts. I'm just using it to create the kind of images that I want. And in this case, I was creating these kind of stock photo style images that are really useful for general marketing purposes, for web pages and social media graphics. And you can see that it does a pretty good job of staying on brand and creating these kind of images that look good. And the cool thing is I can click on any of these images, I can open it up and I can see the prompt that it actually wrote. So it's doing a lot of things here. It's writing a unique prompt for every image that I make. And I can actually download that image as a high resolution image. And you can see each image is following a defined style for each image that I've programmed in. So what you can do here is create a custom style and then create as many images as you want. And the result looks something like this. So I started with a concept for a brand. And what I was able to do is extract out all of these assets that I'll need to build out that brand identity. So what I used Gamma for was to create a bunch of these really nice branded background images, stock images, and then you can get way more creative and do things like this. You can create design elements. What's cool is you can see a bunch of different ideas for design elements that you may want to use or at least get inspiration from, but they're all using that consistent brand style. And another really powerful use case is to have it create mockups for your digital marketing. So you can have AI give you a bunch of ideas of how your marketing content could look, your sales funnels, your opt-in pages, your emails. This kind of creative thinking would normally take a lot of time by a really professional designer who also understands marketing, or multiple people who would come together and do this kind of creative research. So I'm going to show you how you can create something like this in just a few minutes. Now, even more advanced is conceptualizing the customer experience. So I had AI come up with all of these images that kind of show how the product would be used in the real world and what the interaction would look like with our customers. And the final really fun thing here is monetization ideas. So you can start to imagine how we can monetize this brand in different ways. So you're essentially imagining all these different ways to create more value, to create new experiences and products and services underneath the same brand. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to go through this process. Start with ChatGPT, then we drop it into Gamma, we add the style, and now we crank out all of these images in just a few minutes. All right, so what I'm going to do first is open up ChatGPT, and I'm going to open up this project that I created inside ChatGPT. And if you've followed my mood board method, you'll understand this. You can go to moodboardmethod.com to see how this works. But basically, you just need to give the AI some information about your brand vibe, some guidelines on the look and feel of your brand. And I also like to load in an image that shows the look and feel of your brand. So really just giving the AI some information about your brand so that it can follow that and understand. That just saves you the hassle of having to always tell AI about your brand. So I highly recommend doing that as a first step. If nothing else, just have a paragraph or two that describes who you help, how you help them, what you offer, and just the overall tone and voice of your brand. And once it understands that, even just a few basic things, you can get started. So once you have some basic understanding of your business, you can load in some kind of prompt that asks the AI to come up with a bunch of image ideas. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the AI to do the thinking for me. What kind of images will work for my business? So I'm going to tell it something like, here's the task. You are a world-class brand photographer and visual storyteller known for your moody, editorial, and emotionally charged images. Your job is to create 30 unique photo concepts, each a powerful, artful moment designed for a brand mood board. Each must be visually striking, full of feeling, and never generic. Avoid anything that looks like typical stock photos or staged business shots. Now, in my prompts, I go on and give it a lot more information, so I just get really detailed about what I want. You don't have to go that far, but something really simple like that will be enough. I'm going to show you what the output looks like. So again, assuming the AI knows a little bit about my brand, and then I give it a prompt like this, it can generate content ideas for me. So in this case, I'm having it come up with 30 Instagram image and caption ideas. And the output looks like this. So in my prompt, I tell it to create an output kind of like this, where in each one, I have it write up a text hook, an image description, and a caption. So once that's ready, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. And now we're going to go to Gamma and click on Create New AI. And now I'm going to choose the Paste in Text option. And once you're here, you have a few different things you can choose from. I'll talk about some different use cases for these different options. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and click on Social and then use the portrait style layout. And now right here, I'm going to go ahead and just paste in that entire result that I got. And the content here has a few things in it. It has the title of what I want to create. It has a quick brand snapshot to educate Gamma on what this brand is all about. It has a task written up here with instructions telling it what I want it to do. And then below that are all 30 of those things. Now I had my prompt actually generate all that as the result, so I don't have to go and type that in. But if you are kind of doing this yourself without my prompts, you can just get something like this written up. I found that adding this kind of information into Gamma gives it a lot more context to pull from. And if you want access to all of my prompts, I'll put a link below where you can find those, because I spend so many hours creating prompts like this to do this stuff. And I know if you want to save some time and just get the prompts, check out the link below. You can find them. All right, so I have all that information pasted in here. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and scroll down, and I'm going to click on Preserve this exact text. All right, so what do you want to do with this content? We will preserve this exact text. Now we'll continue to the prompt editor. So once you get in here, now we have a few different options. The first thing I'm going to do is click on Freeform up here just to remove any of the styling that it was trying to automatically do. Over here on the left, we have a few different options. I'm going to keep that preserve option. Over here on the left, this is really important. You have this images option. So when we click on that, this is where you can choose a few key things. Number one, you have the image source. We're going to go ahead and have it create AI images. Right here is where you paste in your image style. And this is just a short description that basically becomes the prompt for all of the images that it creates. And right down here, you have your image models. So Gamma gives you many different options. Some of them are free, some are on their lower plan. This new GPT image model is on their most expensive plan, which is somewhere around $20 a month. But the cool thing is you get unlimited image generations with that $20 a month, and you can cancel anytime. So if you're on a budget, you can just go nuts for 1 month and create literally thousands of images for like 20 bucks that are all on brand. Okay, so in the image style, you need to come up with a short description that will become the prompt for all the images that you generate. In this case, I went ahead and said core style, editorial minimalism, clean, open compositions, ultra soft natural light, gentle pastel gradients, and a faint glowing effect around edges. All visuals appear tranquil, breathable, and sophisticated with barely there shadows and a calm, luminous mood. Now, how do you come up with some kind of description like that for yourself? Well, it's a little bit tricky. I've done a lot of testing on this. The key here is that I try to have a really underlying description. So I'm not including any specifics on what kind of content to create, what to include in the images, even what colors to include, because I want it to pull from the descriptions that I have over here in my content. So this is a little bit vague, but it's very underlying, just the underlying mood energy and feel. Okay, so once you get those few things in place, preserve the text, image source, AI images, image style, put in some kind of brand image style right there. Choose the GPT image model. It is one of their premium models. And then down here, we can edit this if we want to, but I want to keep the social format with the portrait layout. Now down here at the bottom, the final thing here is how many cards you want it to create, which is basically just slides that it makes. Since I had it come up with 30 ideas, I'm going to choose 35. So we have like a couple intro, maybe some outro slides. And the last thing you might have noticed up here in the top right, additional instructions. I pretty much skip that. I've added a lot of instructions in here and it seems to handle that pretty well. It can follow along. So I don't really need to add any additional instructions. So let's go ahead and click continue. And now this final page here is where we can choose a theme. In this case, you can create custom themes that you can use over and over. For now though, I'm just going to click a generic one. It doesn't actually matter because it's going to pull from the image style that I gave it. But what's really cool is if you create a custom theme, it'll have your image style already loaded in. So you wouldn't have to do that every time. And just keep in mind that if you don't give it an image style, it will pull from whatever default image styles are loaded into these themes. In this case, I just like the simple Pearl theme that looks fine. So let's go ahead and click on that and then generate. All right, and now we can watch the magic happen. So what it's actually going to do here, start to lay out all of these, they call them cards. So these are like different social post graphics. Basically, you could use these for social posts on Instagram or whatever platform. But again, all I'm really using it for is the images. So what it's going to do is create images that go along with the text. And you notice Gamma's smart enough to not include all the prompting that I gave it. It kind of understood what I want to do here, which is just show the title and some text and create an image. And the images you're seeing here are all those high quality ChatGPT images that have that consistent brand feel to them. So what I've done here in just a few minutes is I've went ahead and had the AI come up with a bunch of image ideas that are unique to this brand. And then I loaded it into Gamma and I gave it instructions on what to create plus the style to create the images in. And now we can see all this content being created here, which is really cool. And the other really cool thing about Gamma is you don't have to go in here and look at all these and pull from the images inside here. What they created is a section in your account over here called AI images. So what it does is it creates a library of all the images that it created. And you can just go in here and scroll through them and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to grab this cool image of the door. So you can just click that and you can download it. And again, all the details about how it created that are right here. The other option you also have is to go back and just pull up that entire document that you created. And now you can quickly scan through that if you want to pull any of the content or other stuff that you created. The other really cool feature they have is that you can go up here in the top right once you've opened up that Gamma and you can click View Source Prompt. Once you click that, you can actually open this up and look back in here at everything that you had initially set up to make that document. So all this information is still there. And if you wanted to try again, you can just go ahead and go into Images, Image Style, and let's say we wanted it to be a certain color palette. So I'm going to add in here golden orange pastel as additional instructions. So if you do have a certain color that you want to use, you can add that into the image style. And now I'm not going to change anything else. We'll go ahead and click continue. We'll click that same Pearl theme. And now it's going to do that exact same task, but with that slightly updated image style. And you'll see how different this will look. So every image now will pull in that color direction that I just gave it as that one little bit of information in the image style. So we'll see here as it loads. Again, this would normally take how many clicks on ChatGPT to generate this many images? You'd be sitting there for the same amount of time to load one image, but now we can load all of these in seconds. So it's making all of these custom images all in one click. All right, this would take so much time in ChatGPT. Even in Sora, where you can make 4 images at once, it still takes forever, and you can only do 2 different image generations at one time, so it still takes a lot of time. So now with that one little thing I added to the style, you can see all of these images have that kind of golden orange pastel glow. And again, if once you get this dialed in and you use that same style prompt, you can create really consistent looking images over and over again for your brand with way less work. And right now, as far as I can tell, in their $20 a month pro plan, you can do unlimited premium AI image generation. And you saw I'm only doing 35 cards, but you can do up to 60 per result. So what I would recommend doing is do a few tests like I just did to get that style prompt just right. And once you get it right, you can generate up to 60 cards per result. Okay, so let's look back here at the difference between that little difference that I put in the style. And the images are all looking really nice, super consistent. That's what I love about the ChatGPT image model is it's really consistent with the results and it follows your prompt really well. So your job with your brand is to get that locked in. And now you can use AI to come up with the image ideas, load them into Gamma, give it that style prompt, and boom. So one thing that is pretty obvious is that image style is really important. And it's kind of hard to come up with that. So I actually built a tool that will help you do that. So you could type something like Nike if you want to create a brand visual like Nike, and it will actually come up with a style for that brand. The other option is you can upload a screenshot from your website or give it some information about your website, and it will analyze that image or whatever image that you give it. And in a few seconds, boom, it will give you a style to follow the look and feel of your current marketing materials. All right, so this is just one of the many things I'm doing over at Design Hacker. If you want to get this tool and if you want to try some of this stuff, I'll put a link below on where you can get some of these resources to help you follow this process. Okay, so next I'm going to try a few more things. Let's go ahead and try another one here, which is going to create background image styles. So I really like using AI to create background image styles that are on brand, because that's one thing that I usually do in branding kits for clients. It really helps with all the content you create, and just simple, clean background images are so helpful to make your content really look good, from social media cover banner images to email banners to presentations to social media posts. The background images can really help you make it look unique, but it also captures the feeling and the energy of your brand really well. So let me show you how that works. Let's go back in here to Gamma. I'll just start a new one from scratch so you can see how this looks. All right, let's go ahead and click on Create New. I will paste in text. We're going to paste in the results that I just got, which is similar to the last one, except now we're doing background images. In this case, we'll stick with a social portrait style. The one thing I like about that is it's consistent in the size, so it creates these kind of horizontal images. You saw the last example where it had the text below and the image on top. That's useful if you want the same size over and over. Right now, you can't specify the ratio of the AI images that are generated, so I'll show you an example at the end of that. But for now, I'm going to click with that. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the very bottom here. I'll click Preserve this exact text. We will continue to the prompt editor. Now we'll click on the free form instead of the card by card. We'll go over here and keep it on Preserve. We'll go to the images and I will paste in that image description again. And again, if you were to make your own theme on Gamma, you can preload your style. But for now, I'm just going to show you. I'll paste in that same image style. We'll stick with the GPT image model format. We'll stick to what we had there, the social portrait. We'll stick with the no additional instructions. We'll change the number of cards to 35 and continue. I'll go back and use that same Pearl theme, click generate, and now we'll let that run. So it, again, because I gave it information, here's what I loaded into it to have it do this while it generates that. In this prompt, I had it come up with 30 branded background image ideas. I had it write up a quick brand snapshot to describe what this brand is. I had it write up the task, and I actually put that into Gamma so that the Gamma actually understands what we're doing here with this content. And then each one of these, the result is a title for that background image, and then a quick description of that image, and then suggested use for that image. So let's see how it's handling this. All right, let's scroll down and we can see clouded cream drift. We can see powder blue calm. Again, I'm not really using this for anything. I don't care what it's writing down here. I'm just using it to create these unique background images. So if we scroll down, you can see what Gamma is doing. It's taking the information I gave it, and then it's actually writing in a prompt for that individual image. So scrolling down, these are just really cool. I mean, this would normally take a lot of work to go find. There's kits like this that you can buy online if you've ever been in the Envato Elements or other platforms where you can buy these kind of images, but they're generic. They are things that anyone could buy, and they're often just not quite on brand. But what we can do here now with AI is give it that style guide, give it these kind of instructions, give it some context about your brand. And now you can see it's making really unique background images that are specific to your brand. And the AI is even thinking about where you may be able to use these. So these assets are really beautiful. And again, what we can do here is just go back to the dashboard, go to AI images, and now we can see all of the images here in one place that were generated. So these are beautiful background images for this brand. And if you're not used to doing design, you may be wondering, well, where do I even use all those images? Why are background images so helpful for me? Well, look here at these mockups that I made. You can see mobile apps, podcasts, graphics, any kind of like marketing materials, web pages, landing pages. That's where you could use these background images, and you don't need to use all of them. You may just find one or two that you like and you use over and over, but it's normally very hard to find those images. And now I'm just showing you in one click, you can make a whole bunch of ideas that are really nice. And even if you just, again, use one or two of these, like that one's pretty cool. You could build a whole brand just around that one image with a logo on it, keep that consistent background for all of your graphics that you make for your website, your marketing materials, your social media. That looks awesome, right? So it's just giving you a bunch of ideas really fast instead of trying to think yourself. You can follow a process like this, have AI do the thinking for you, then have the AI make a bunch of images and show you what they look like. And then you could even download them and use it. All right, so hopefully you're seeing some of the power here of having a project or a custom GPT for your brand that has some project files loaded in and has some instructions to create branded content or at least review the project files. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to moodboardmethod.com to see how I do this for every brand that I build. And once you have that foundation, you can do these additional things. So now I have a prompt to come up with 30 digital marketing campaign mood board instructions. So what I'm doing is basically having ChatGPT tell Gamma what to do. And ChatGPT has the information about my brand loaded in. And now it can write up the instructions that I'm going to load into Gamma. And the results here for this prompt is very similar. You can see it's just describing the brand very quickly to give Gamma some foundational information. It's describing what we want to do here with this content. And it's describing the task. And now it is describing each idea in detail. And it's coming up with 30 ideas. So this is where we go from, okay, how do we market this? How do we create a campaign for this brand? Well, I'm going to start from scratch again so you can follow along. We'll go to create new on Gamma. We'll go to paste in text. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and do presentation and default. The reason I'm doing that is because it'll create different size images, which may be useful. So I'm just going to go ahead and click presentation and default. It's a little bit different output than the social. Let's go ahead and paste in the instructions that I just made over in ChatGPT. Now I will preserve this exact text and we will continue. The first thing I do again is I just switch it to freeform. I go over here, preserve the content. In the image section, I'll add in the image style that I already had used before, the same one. So we have that consistent look for everything. I'm going to use that GPT image model. If you use a different image model, the results will not be the same. So it's important to stick with the model. Once you get a style that works and an image model that you like, just stick with that to create more consistency. I really only tested this with the GPT image model, which is their premium one, so it does cost more. There are some free ones you could try, but from my testing and from some people that I've showed this to who tried the other models, it just wasn't looking as good. So I really built all of this, what I'm showing you today, based on the GPT image model. Presentation format, presentation default, and the card number, we'll go ahead and switch that to 35 again, so I'm telling it to make 30. Let's go ahead and continue. Again, I'll switch to just that simple Perl theme. Not using this to create presentations right now. But what is cool is if you do have a client, or if you wanted to present this to your team members, you can actually have a presentation with all of these ideas on it. So it actually could create a good presentation that you could use. In this case, the way this is generating the results here, you can see it is a pretty cool presentation with a bunch of ideas. So it looks super valuable. This is definitely valuable enough to be something you would show to someone, because what it's doing is it's coming up with all these different marketing concepts. And it's not just giving you the content ideas and the strategy, it will actually generate mock-ups of what that could look like. So now we're going from just basic idea for a business, a brand, a product, a service, into visualizing how this could look when we start to build out the marketing campaigns. Now, the problem you'll see here, some of these do get cut off. They're not perfect mock-ups by any means. They're more, in this case, I'm using these for inspiration and ideas. So when I do sit down to create content, I'm not starting from scratch and I can say, oh, I really like how that looks. Let me go ahead and pull from my library of background images and start to piece together the things that I need, right? Once you have some of the designs that you need, you can build this stuff out pretty quick. And the inspiration is really helpful because you can just scan through this and get ideas of what your content could look like. Meaningful email series. Let's see here. Retargeting ads. I like that. That's a good looking, like simple, minimal ad campaign, visuals. Look at this, a podcast series. What could our podcast look like? It's just an idea. It's just giving you a concept here, but super cool to see. And again, you can see how much Gamma is doing. It took all the information that I gave it in those instructions. It's studying and understanding the image style. It's creating unique prompts for every image, and it's generating that for me. Now, the other thing that you'll see here is these layouts aren't great, but you could click on this and fit image in there. That one doesn't look good, but let me find one that does look good. Let's fit that one in there. It creates a nice like shadow effect behind it. So if you were to present this, there are things you can do to clean it up and make it look better. If I kind of zoom out here, you can see it's not that bad looking. And you can just show it full screen like this and go through. Again, I'm not making this to be a presentation. I'm trying to get the AI images out of this. But just to give you other use cases, there's a lot more you can do with this. You can even share it as a PDF file or a presentation. So those are all options built in. Now, the problem with this layout is you see some of these aren't making images for it. It's a little bit better with the social setting, like I did previously, where pretty much every card, it will make a graphic. In this case, we're not really creating images. So what I may consider doing there is in the source prompt, I may add some instructions here if I'm using the presentation style to say, don't use any diagrams, use minimal text, make this focus more on the images. So I may try doing that. I've had mixed results doing those kind of additional instructions. But you do notice here what we were doing with this one was the presentation format using just the default layout. The benefit of using that versus the social is you get some of these more vertical images. So some of these are turning out vertical, which can be nice to mix up if you want to see different size images. But scrolling down here, this is what's cool is you start to see a bunch of like really nice ideas. Like this looks really cool. I like the look and feel of that. Even the concept of a meditation starter kit download for this brand makes a lot of sense. And now I can visually see what that could look like too. So let's go back to the dashboard here, click on the AI images, and we can just see all of that in one place now. So here are all of those mock-ups in one place. And you can see that we have a few less. We got more images created over here in the social media layout, and you see they're all consistent, the same horizontal layout. Using the presentation one, we're getting a little bit of a mixed bag here of the sizes and layouts. But again, looking at some of the concepts it came up with, these are pretty cool ad ideas. We can even see the prompt of what it came up with here for different seasonal campaigns. We can see an announcement email, the podcast ideas. I'm going to try this one again with the same details, but let's go back into that source prompt and let's just change the format to be social and portrait. I'll keep everything else the same. Let's run that through just to see how it handles that. So the only difference now is the format that I'm doing, social versus presentation. Some of the things I like about the presentation, if you want some mixed sizes for your images, that could be useful. Let's see how it handles this one here, where it's all going to be pretty much the same. You see it's very different in how it generates it, but it does do a better job of adding an image to every card, which is really what we're trying to do here. I'm going to request from Gamma at some point to add an option where you can choose the size that you want of your images. But for now, you're limited to whatever Gamma decides to do in its results here. All right, so you see why some of these mockups aren't, they're getting kind of cut off. But again, we're not really trying to create perfect images here. It's just seeing different concepts created for this brand, social posts or ads. Yeah, retargeting ads. So this is the same instructions that I gave it before. But wow, that's really nice. That would take a lot of work to come up with an idea. So sleep sanctuary. I mean, just the ideas alone are so helpful here. Let's see more ideas for a podcast concept. Video ads, came up with a welcoming community space. So what I like about using ChatGPT for this initial phase is it understands the brand and then it comes up with unique ideas for it. And then I take those and put them into Gamma to generate the visuals. What I used to do was I would do that first step where I have ChatGPT come up with ideas. And then I would say, okay, cool, now make an image for idea number 2. But again, you're using the built-in image generation here, which takes forever. It loads super slow and you're up all night waiting for these things to load. Now you can do it, as you can see here, blazing fast, rapid fire, high quality ChatGPT image generation on brand. Every image understands the brand style. It understands the context. It has instructions to do something that is very unique and intentional. It's creating really valuable ideas and concepts for your brand. This is just incredible. So now we have all of these marketing ideas. So I may stick with this. This looks like it's doing a much better job. And if we look back at our AI image library, if I refresh this, we'll see, I think, a lot more concepts here. So using that social format did a better job of every card generating a visual image, which is really what I want here. And now when I log back in here, I can open up my library and I can just see all of these ideas. I can also open them up and again, download these, or I can always find them again just by going into my Gammas and taking a look at the Gamma here and scrolling through to see all of the marketing ideas. So in this case, I would probably name it marketing ideas. And then what I do is I create a folder over here on the left inside Gamma, and I will just drag these in so I can organize them all in one place for that brand. So now you can go back into Gamma and really quickly just be like, oh yeah, what were the marketing ideas? Let me pull that up, or just open up your AI images. All right, let me show you a couple more quick examples. I'll just do rapid fire here. This is another idea that I had, which is basically monetization ideas. And the goal of this prompt is to have the AI come up with different income stream ideas. So it's imagining new products, services, and experiences for this brand. And it basically creates 30 mood board concepts of different individual products or services or experiences that you may want to create for that brand, which can create new income channels. So let's try this out again. I will follow through that process. You can watch again, paste in text. We'll use the social portrait format there. Let's go ahead and preserve, continue. Switch it to freeform, go to images, drop that in, switch the card count to 35, and everything else is already set from before. The social portrait layout, GPT image model. Let's click continue with 35 cards. We'll go ahead and choose that same Pearl theme and generate. Now this is fun. Again, more just monetization ideas. You can see the concepts while this is loading. This is a really fun use case of AI is like, okay, now that you understand my brand, you understand what we're doing here, what we're offering currently, what other income streams may be possible for us. And it's coming up with 30 ideas. So I had ChatGPT come up with 30 ideas, a calm start kit, a guided evening rituals, mindful moments, subscription box, serene workspace pop-up. So really creative ideas, just super fun. And if you are part of a team, if you're a solopreneur just trying to start your own side project, this is really valuable to come up with all these ideas. If you're doing this for clients, presenting new ideas is really helpful. I've spent so many hours working with clients where we talk about things and I kind of see it in my mind. They see something different in their mind. Well, now you can just mock up ideas really fast and see what they look like and pick a direction and at least get to version 1 really fast, right? So I'm using this mostly for brainstorming, visualization, imagination. What kind of content can we create? And sometimes Gamma will load in these default images for the theme, which is a bummer because it didn't create that image, but most of them turn out pretty good. So we can see here how Gamma is using the ChatGPT image model to generate all of these custom images really fast. And look at this. Now we go from just a rough write-up of the idea to an actual visual concept in the brand style, which is super cool. I mean, look at that. That is an amazing mock-up right there of like what a Mindful Moments subscription box could look like for this specific brand. Scrolling through, these are all amazing. Lots of fun ideas here of other income channels. All right, so just so you can see here, like what I've done here in a few minutes for this brand is lots of really good ideas in the brand style that I can look through, I can open up, I can download these images, I can present these ideas, I can use them for inspiration. So much really good content here, all created in a few clicks. If you were to do this inside ChatGPT or Sora, this would take literally hours of waiting and watching that blurry image load. Now I'm going to show you something really important here because this is another example of another brand that we did this for. And now I'm going to load in that image style for this same content here, but with just the only difference is the image style. So let's see how different that looks. I'll use the same theme and I just want you to see how different the results will look based on just changing that one thing. Everything else in the instructions was the same, but the images that are generated now are going to look very different than what we had just created. All right, so you can already see very quickly how different the brand is looking by just changing those couple sentences in the image style. And now everything that it generates here in this Gamma will follow that same look and feel. So that's what I love about the ChatGPT image model is you can get the style figured out and then everything you create from there on out will have the same brand look. And this has a totally different energy now than that other brand that we were working with, but it's the same content. So really, really, really drastic how different this looks. So I recommend getting that figured out, getting the look and feel, I call it your vibe, figured out. The mood board method that I created is to help you kind of imagine what that'll look like. And then some of these other tools and prompts that I've showed you today are part of that, which will help you start to bring your brand to life once you get some of these foundational concepts like the look and feel and the vibe of your brand figured out. Now you can start to really execute much faster. And the power of these AI models is it can help you come up with all this content and visualize it really fast so you can skip past the initial phases that usually take a lot of time and you can start to get into clarity and action mode so much faster. This stuff is cool. I really like how this is looking for this brand. And I think it's just amazing what ChatGPT's image model is able to do following those style instructions and then how that affects the images that it generates. Not just the overall look, but every detail like the user interface, the specific elements that it adds in there, the design decisions that it makes, and how it's showing you what that looks like. Even physical location concepts like this, it's just really, really cool how it is bringing this whole vision to life. All right, I have shown you a lot today. This is a really powerful Gamma AI plus ChatGPT image hack, and it helps you create high quality branded AI images way faster. The combination of using ChatGPT to understand your brand and help you come up with visual content ideas that can help you create the assets that you need and also imagine what your digital marketing or product design could look like. ChatGPT is really good at writing up the instructions, and then what you can do is load that into Gamma and use the really powerful image generation model from ChatGPT, but do it inside Gamma so that you can create many more images way faster instead of waiting for that slow, blurry loading image inside ChatGPT or Sora. You can go right into Gamma and create unlimited AI images really fast that are all on brand. So we're solving a lot of really big problems here. If you've ever tried to use ChatGPT to make your images, you know it's powerful, but you also know how slow it is. And it's really tough to get a lot of ideas generated fast. So that's why this new Gamma hack will save you a lot of time and help you get moving much faster. The process one more time: use ChatGPT to brainstorm your image ideas, copy those into Gamma's AI presentation tool, add your brand style, which is really important, as I showed you there. That quick little description makes a huge difference in how it looks. And now you can use Gamma to crank out high quality images in seconds. And as long as you're on the Pro plan with Gamma, which right now is about $20 per month, you can create unlimited images without wasting hours clicking and waiting. And the results here are really incredible. You can see how amazing these can look, again, just for ideas and inspiration. But the importance I wanted to show you today is that initial image style and how big of a difference it makes. Even with the same instructions and prompt, the results are completely different. And that's really what your brand is all about. You got to pick a direction with your brand, pick a certain style and feel, and then everything you do from there should be carried out using that same style. What I love now is you can use AI tools like ChatGPT and Gamma to visualize all of these things, to come up with ideas. And now, whether you're doing this for yourself or you're hiring someone to do it or getting your team to do it, you all can get very clear, get on the same page, and execute with much more confidence. All right, that's it for this video. As I mentioned, some of these prompts and tools are available over at designhacker.com. I'll also put a direct link down below this video where you can grab some of that. And if you're interested in that mood board method that I showed you to get that essential information loaded into ChatGPT, just go to moodboardmethod.com. For now, I'd love to know what you thought about this video. I showed you a lot today, but I think there's some really, really cool hacks in here. Have you tried doing any of this with Gamma? Are there other tools that do similar things? I'd love to know. I don't have time to test everything out. So if you see something here in this video that was useful, give me some feedback. I'd love to hear it. And if there's other tools that I should be looking at that do something similar to this, drop a link below. I'd love to take a look and check it out. That's it for today. I'm going to wrap up there, and I will talk to you guys soon.